using Blender for developing real space installation ideas for contemporary art and displays and exhibitions, etc. You may use CAD, you may not, but I find Blender a really useful way to come up with sort of approximate ideas for my kind of real space designs. Say if I'm proposing something like an installation, for example, I did a project called The Enchanted Snake. I used Blender for that to come up with ideas to communicate to the funders. I'm going to be bad here, and I'm going to use an AI image just for quickness. I'm just going to drag that in. And this was just done in Playground AI. Just typed in contemporary gallery like that, GX, and I'll move that back. You notice that I dragged it in on, you know, this viewport here, like the front, the right viewport. If we drag an image in the perspective like this, it will be squint, so like that. So it won't be good. Okay. So just remember to drag in images, you know, either top, front, bottom, whatever. So now this image is there, I can sort of use that as a reference. We can also import things like DXFs as floor plans that we can use as references as well. Another add-on I'd really recommend if you're sort of measuring floor plans out and you want to get them fairly accurately is to use CAD Sketcher. I'll include the link in the description on YouTube. A good thing to go to next is to go to the scene properties, and you just want to be aware of the units. So although this isn't, Blender's obviously not a CAD software, it's good to sort of, if you're doing sort of things sort of meant for the real world, it's good to sort of keep it kind of like good measurements. So we've got metric here and length in meters. We can change it to centimeters. I'm going to keep that on meters. So for example, I'm just going to press X and delete this cube. So now if I shift an A and add a cube, you can see down here it gives you the parametric options. So I can slide the parameters up and down, and then I can specify, or I can click in here and I can type in, I want that cube 5 squared. So now I know that's 5 by 5 by 5. If I go to edit mode, then I can sort of make that into a floor like GZ. But I don't really know how high the floor is now. You can use something called the measure tool, which is really useful. Click on the measure tool here on the panel here, the T shelf. Press T to bring that up if it's not there. And then on the measure, you just left click once, drag, and that can give you an idea of how measured things are. If we hold down Control, then I can, if I hold down Control, go to that one and drag, it will snap to that side. So now that's saying that's 5 meters. You know, in other ways we can measure this going up as well. We could just make another one, hold down Control, and I know, whoops, and I know the measurement there is 0.08, whatever. You may be wondering, how can we actually measure the height on something to get it accurate? So a good way to do this is if I delete this, and I'm going to do Shift and A, and I'm going to add a plane, which is just one-dimensional, well, two-dimensional, obviously it has no heights, but we've got it at 2 meters squared, so that's okay. And a way we can actually do it so we actually get the height is we can go to deform, not deform, it's going to be generate, and I'm going to go to solidify, and solidify will allow me to adjust the thickness. It seems to be flipped, but it doesn't matter if it's so, you know, I want it 50 high, so I'm just going to do there, take it to 0.5. And now I know that's 0.5. The great thing, because there's a modifier, I can actually slide the parameters up and down and change it to suits. That's a good way to measure as well. Remember, CAD Sketcher will be better for this kind of thing in a way, the add-on, which I'll include in the description. Anyway, so now I'm just going to do a sort of very random visualization of this. This is really useful for if you've got trying to communicate something like a visual to a client, if you're doing, say, an installation and you need to sort of show them what the space will look like with your art in. And so what I'm doing, I just made a cube, and I'm just going to go to edit mode and just move the, you know, the bits around. So I've selected the face mode, and I'm going to press G and Y to restrict it on the Y-axis. So that's kind of the floor, basically. We can also be efficient and call that floor. Right? Very easy not to, you know, call things by the name there, and it can cause a lot of confusion later on. I'll just pull that back. So now I'm going to just add a wall. So I'm going to Shift and A, and I'll just add a cube, and then just what I'm going to do is SY, just scale that on the Y. Just do that quickly. and I want to move the wall up here. So now I want this bit, this point here to snap to that. So we're going to turn on snapping now, which is another really important feature when we're building things like this up. And I'm going to go into these settings, and I'm just going to put on vertex. In my opinion, vertex, when you're snapping, this is the best thing to use, just vertex. And now I'm going to press G, and it's still not really, it doesn't really do it that well. It's kind of very hard to specify what you want to snap to. So this new version, Blender 4.0 and above, what you do is you press G, and then you're going to press B, and you hover over to the point you want it to snap. Okay? So if I do that and click on that, whoops, G, B, hover over that and click on that, and then just left click and drag, now it will snap to that one I've specified. So now, whoops, so I just do it again, G, B, and just left click and drag that down. So that snaps exactly on there, left click. And I'll go to edit modes and just take this wall in a bit. GY. You want to be sure, if you don't want snap on, just remember, because it can snap all over the place. So that's kind of a side wall. And then what I'll do is I'll just add another one, Shift and A, and just do a cube. Just go to edit modes and make sure it's on plane, and I'm just going to go GX, and then I'm going to get this one here, and I'm going to move that on GY. But that's kind of, I didn't really measure this one, so what I'll do is I'll just do another GB, make sure snaps on again, and I want this edge to snap onto this edge, so I'm going to go GB, okay, GB, hold down left click and move mouse, and then left click. So that's all contained there. Okay, that's overlapping a bit, so how would we get this sorted? So go to edit mode again, just GY, and so now we need to sort of make sure this is going to snap here. So GY, it's a bit more tricky, isn't it? So what I'll do is I'll get GB, and because I've selected the whole face, okay, it's going to snap the whole face. Yeah, see what I mean? If I just had it on vertex and did GB and specified that vertex, it would only snap the vertex. So really helpful. Remember that if you have it on face selected and do a GB with just one of the vertex, it'll snap the whole thing. Really cool. Okay, and I'll do that with the other side as well. So I'm going to do Shift and D, and then I'm just going to move this across here like that. And that's snapping there, but it's still overlapping there. So I'm just going to go to GY, move that there a bit, and I'm just going to go GB and left click and drag that there. Magic. Okay. And then I'm just going to move this for reference purposes. And it's got a ceiling, hasn't it? So it's kind of just get this one and Shift and D and move that up. You can see that the little orange dot is up here. That's because when we move vertexes and things around, it basically you know, the pivot point remains there. It doesn't automatically snap. So when you've got things like that, you're just going to go to Object, Set Origin, Object Geometry, and you can just check all of these as well, because you don't want a pivot point like here, for example, because if you rotate it, it causes so much bother because it's not rotating in the proper place. So you just go Set Origin, Origin to Geometry, like that. Again here, Origin to Geometry. Okay, and then this is up in the air. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these. No, actually, I just won't bother. So you know, even when you're doing visualization, you can just sort of get away with sort of. Actually, no, because it's overlapping. I don't really like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this and I'm going to snap that down. So I'm going to take the ceiling down to what I want, and then I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to do a. Remember, so it's a G. So you select the face, GB. Click that down, and then it's going to ping. Whoops, it's just going to ping there, left click, lovely. And I'll do the sides again, GB, and just drag that down like that. Click. And then the back wall, just to prevent overlapping, because that can make weird stuff happen with the render. I'm going to go and do GB and drag that down like that. And left click, remember to left click. And you can see now it's got this all going on like this. Very good. And what I'll do is I'm just probably going to Shift and D this. Move that up there. I just need to go on wireframe so I can see the side of that. Go to edit modes. Just get that piece there. Just turn on snapping. Select that side, go back to solid view. And I'm just going to go GY and just drag that like that. It's kind of thick, isn't it? So I'm going to do GX. And because that had snapped in the correct place in the back one before I copied it, then I can just keep it like that. So you can see it's a very useful way to get things, you know, really snapping well, you know, using the snapping, the G and B, the new feature B. Just going to get to, yep, it's the X. And what I'll do is I'll just make a Boolean there. So I'm just going to go, I'm just going to make a new cube, Shift and A, and make a cube. And I'm going to scale it down S and Z. Now, Booleaning isn't the best way often to make a clean mesh quickly, but I'll just do that for the purpose of the video. Okay, and then I'm just going to put that through there. So to make a Boolean SY, make sure your shape is the way you want it. And then you're going to go to display, because you need to the visibility here, because the viewport display, because you want to make sure that this, you can see that it's a wire, because you can see what the Boolean is doing. So this is basically the Boolean operator, and then the back there's going to be what's going to be Booleans. So Boolean is a modifier. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to generate a Boolean, and I'm going to click that cube, and now it's made a nice thing there. And because we, whoops, wrong one, and because if we select the Boolean operator, we can move that around, we can see what the Boolean's doing because it's a wireframe. In Blender, you actually have to make the visibility, you know, so you can actually make it a wireframe. It doesn't do it automatically. And you can see from there, a very simple space, but you can see that the benefits of using these tools and coming up with something very simple quickly. I'm just going to go up to the material preview, and I'll just make a very quick wall material. And you notice I haven't called the walls properly, which is bad. But let's go with wall, and then I'm going to just change the color to something a bit sort of slightly blue, I think, just an off blue. And then I can select all the other elements I want as the wall. And then we've got something going on here. Obviously, you know, you'd need to start adding other things. So you could add a floor color, and you know, ultimately you want to put textures on here, like PBR type textures. If you know you really want to get good textures, you can use Substance Paint or Substance Sampler, which I also use, and I can choose just. So I'll just give that actually a bit of a grayer floor to make interiors believable. You know, it's quite good to have the floor darker than the, you know, the ceilings and walls, unless you want to have the ceiling a different color, etc. Okay, and then you know, ideally I'd want textures on this, but just for this little quick session, I'm just showing you how to do it like this. I want to import some things now, so I want to import the model. So imagine if this is you know, an interior that we wanted to show a sculpture to our client that we're going to put in the interior, a sort of proposal. I'm going to click on OBJ, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and find where it is. So I'm going to go up here, and what is it? It's called Expo, that one, and it's not there, is it? So I'm just going to check my folder in Windows. Yeah, I think it's just because I think it's an FBX, that's why. Another annoying thing in Blender, you have to specify what you're importing or it doesn't pick up other ones. Let's go up here. Fondant. Tuition. Video. This is where I get, oh, that's there, sorry. Expo, yeah. Doesn't seem to be there. It was there on that, just a minute. I'm just going to try and drag it in from here. Oh, I know what it is. It's a GLB. Sorry about that. So that's a good case in point to specify what you're importing. So here I'm going to do a GLB, and I'm going to find it again. Ta-da! So now it'll appear. So where is it? So it's there. I'm just going to move that, click that there, and I'm going to scale it up. So it's a shark, like a Damien Hirst. This shark was basically made in Genie, so it's an AI model. Obviously you want to be making your own models, but this is just a quick demonstration. So that's from text specifying I wanted a shark, and it makes a shark automatically. Okay. You can also import, when you drag in an image like that, that's not actually an object, it's kind of like an empty, it doesn't do anything. So to get an actual image in, you want to go to Preferences, and you're going to go to add-ons, and you're going to import images planes. It's in Blender, but it's not turned on. Oh, it is turned on in my version. So what you need to do is just go to File, Imports, Images Planes, and then I'm going to see it's not remembered the folder. Okay, and I'm just going to import this little drawing that I did, and now that comes in a nice right way up, and I'll just move the drawing like this. I'm just going to press Scale to scale it up. It looks a bit distorted, isn't it? Anyway, so now I've got stuff going on in the scene, and I'm just going to use Eevee, two different types of renderers, Cycles and Eevee. I'm just going to use Eevee, and I'm just going to put a bit of ambient occlusion in. It's a bit like taking a blowtorch in a way. If you want really good renders, you want to use Cycles or a third-party render, but this just, you know, just to show you now. So I've put in the ambient occlusion. You can add bloom if you want, etc. Screen space reflections if you've got a bit of reflection going on. And so now I want to add a light. So I'm going to do Shift and A, and I'm going to add a light. I'm just going to add a simple point just for this reference. So it's not really doing much, is it? It's because we're on material preview. So I'm going to take it up to the full render. And now with light, I can move it around. I quite like those blue walls. It looks like a kind of sea, kind of a virtual sea immersive experience. Yeah. So you know, see what I mean? So if you're designing things that are experiences or on, you know, things that you want to show quickly, you know, look what you can get to just in a short space of time. I've got another light because the Blender is made with two, you know, light in the scene already. So I'm just going to select that and delete that, and I'm just going to rely on this point light here. And what I'll do is I'm going to change it just quickly to an area light, and I'm going to increase the size of the area. And obviously it's quite dark, so I need to increase the power from 10 watts up. And you can see like that. And I can bring that up. Obviously this is very rudimentary. You want to do lights much more properly than this, but I'll just change that wall because I didn't get that onto the blue. So I'll select the light again. You know, and you've got different lights, so you've got spot, area, and you can actually set up, you know, really good things if you spend time on it. Okay, and then I'll just zoom into the area, and you can see, you know, it's looking okay. Obviously, as you know, Blender, this, you know, press 0 to go to the camera view, and you need to lock the camera view in lock camera to view, and then now you move it around, it will move with the camera. It's quite small though, so again you have to turn this off and zoom in with your wheel to make the viewport a bit larger for where the camera is, obviously a safe frame. And now like so. So that's a very, very quick way to get sort of concept ideas up and running in Blender. And as you can see, it's really powerful. There are a lot of other things you can do with it. So you can add things like grease pencil, which is quite a good quick way to get things going on with regards to basically, you can draw, quickly in the grease pencil modes, sort of annotations in 3D, yeah, which is really, really helpful. That sort of kind of cool, kind of annotated, kind of interior thing that you can sort of, just turn everything off here. So turn off overlays and you can see what's going on there. Very, very rudimentary. I hope this helped you as a sort of contemporary artist, designer, installation designer, but you can see, obviously this is very basic, but you can see what you can get out of Blender and where you can take it. Obviously, you've got things like the background to consider, like the sky, and there's sky shaders. You can set up HDRIs as well. You can even cheat a bit and just change the background color, but that changes the whole lighting. Okay, and then you just can hit render, and then you've got a render. Any questions? Let me know in the comments section. And as an artist, if you found this helpful, give us a shout and come up with any questions and ideas. Speak soon, and remember to subscribe. It would be great to see you again. Bye.